What's up? What's up? Today we're going to talk about triggers. Why a lot of people just go through the same things over and over again. All right, so the title of today's lecture is This is Why You're Still Going Through the Same Shit. We're going to deep dive into triggers because your triggers are teachers. When you think of most people don't learn well from words, right? If you go up to your friend, they've been going through the same situation over and over again, and you tell them, hey, look, man, you should probably leave that guy alone. You should probably leave that woman alone, right? It is not until they are ready through their own experience to stop going through that same thing, that's when they're actually going to learn something, right? So most of us, we have to learn through experience. That's how most people learn, right? So if we have to learn through experience, your soul knows that, well, then what can we look at? Then what can we actually look at in our own life that we can use as divine lessons to push us towards the things that we want? All right. So today we're going to be talking about why you're going through the same things. We're going to talk about triggers. We're going to talk about why certain times in your life feel like time loops, or certain things in your life might seem like loops. You know, same relationship, right? It's a different person, but the relationship ends up the same. Right? Same financial issues, right? I have a breakthrough, then I fall into the same trap, right? The same emptiness after accomplishments. What are these things trying to teach us? So triggered into truth, breaking the loops that keep you in chaos. All right. So the mirror and the loop, life as a living oracle. All right. So a quote by Neville Goddard. All right. The world is a mirror, forever reflecting what you are doing within yourself. Okay. The world, everything that you experience is going to be a mirror that is giving you feedback on your beliefs, your thoughts, how you're living, right? What you want. You know, all these things are being reflected back at you all of the time, right? So life is just one big synchronicity. When we think about how the divine speaks to us, we tend to think of patterns. You tend to think of synchronicities. If I see a 333 or a 222, if I hear a certain song, right, I'll think this is a synchronicity. But the Most High also operates in synchronous ways just throughout your life, right? You're going to experience people and all of a sudden y'all have the same type of conversations and you're triggered multiple times, right? You go into relationships and they end the same way. You find out that, man, the type of people that I date have similarities, right? I find myself in constant financial situations that are similar, right? All of these things are synchronous events, right? This is your soul trying to speak to you. Now, do you have the self-awareness to actually look at these things from an accountable perspective, or do you become a victim? You say, okay, well, damn, I just keep getting bad breaks. Dang, I just keep picking the wrong person. Dang, all these men ain't shit, right? How do you view whatever patterns are occurring in your life, right? If we know that the Most High, if we know that the universe speaks in patterns, how can we open our eyes to what these patterns are trying to show us and actually grow, expand, and get more in alignment with the shit that we want? All right. So we are not victims of fate. We are students of frequency. Every person you meet, every situation that agitates you, every chaotic loop you fall into, none of it is random. Life is a spiritual algorithm tailored to the codes you carry. And the trigger, it's not here to destroy you. It's here to reveal you. All right. So when the same pain keeps repeating, it is not a punishment. It is a curriculum. Okay. So basically, this is a kind of a holy echo. All right. And it is basically asking you if you're ready to meet this wound with wisdom this time. Okay. The last time you experienced this, you didn't extract enough wisdom from it. Or if you did extract the wisdom, you didn't embody the lesson, right? You're not actually integrating the lesson and walking through your life to allow your life to get better. So the situation has to present itself to you over again. Don't think about this in a negative way, right? Think about this in a loving way. This is how much your soul loves you. That's how much your higher self, God, the universe loves you, right? He's at the moment you have a desire and you want something, everything begins to orchestrate around you to push you towards that thing. Things start to move in rooms that you're not even in. Right? People begin to talk about you in rooms that you're not even in. Happy Friday, happy Friday. Right? This is how much the Most High cares about you. So every soul begins to start trying to push you towards what you want. You might perceive some of these things as heartbreak, as loss, as betrayal, but they're all lessons. They're all for you. Everything is for you. So if I understand that everything is for me because the kingdom of God is within me, right, and I know that I'm always divinely looked out for, then at the very least, if I go through a difficult situation, I should be able to pull some kind of lesson from it. Or else I'm just saying that, God is chaotic. God is unintentional, right? God is just out here making mistakes, right? When this is not how the Most High operates, right? This is not how your soul operates. Your soul does not operate with mistakes, right? You can perceive that because you're not pulling the lesson. So we have a divine obligation, right? Because what you want, the things that you desire, if God is within you, those things that you desire are promises. They are sacred and holy promises. All right? They are sacred and holy promises. All right? And they are leading you to those things, right? So everything in your life is leading you to those sacred and holy promises. Now, how can you receive these lessons? Do you just go through it and do you blame the world? Or do you try to see everybody as God in disguise trying to help you out? Right. And when you actually step on this side of the game, you can walk through life with a lot more confidence. You can walk through life just much more colder, much more calmer, much more collected. All right. So the law of projection, what you condemn is calling for compassion. All right. So you see in others what you refuse to see in yourself, and what you fear to see in yourself, you hate in others. It's from the Zohar. All right. So what if every person who irritates you is actually showing you your unfinished business, right? Why do we get triggered? Why do we get upset when certain people bring up certain things to us, right? When certain people try to have certain conversations or they express certain perspectives or opinions. Why do we get upset with those people when they do that, right? Is it truly those people, or is it anyone who is carrying that message would trigger us? Right. Well, if it's anyone that was carrying that message, if it's the message that triggers us, what is the meaning of that message to us? Right. This is when we have to start really asking these questions and going deep within ourselves, treating our lives as the ultimate project. Right. Why is that belief? Why is their opinion, their truth offending me? Is it because it threatens my version of truth? Right? Is it because it's something that I haven't talked about or thought about? Right? Or if it's not that thing that they say and it's the actual person, what is it about this person that is triggering me? Right? Do I see something in them that makes me feel a certain type of way? Right? Is it their, quote unquote, arrogance? Does it remind me of my insecurities? Right? Does it remind me that I'm not being validated enough, but they can walk around with this arrogance and now they are giving me these opinions? Right? What is it about the situation that bothers you truly? Not just there's something about them. Not just, they always saying something crazy, right? But what truly is it that is bothering you? Right? What is embedded in your belief system that you need to learn from this person? Right. This goes back to how the universe operates. If you do not believe that you can receive a lesson from anyone, then you just believe that, life is unorganized and random. Right. I would argue that it's more random for you to see 333 on your clock than it is for somebody to show up with the same message that triggers you in the same way 3 times. Right. Neither one of them is random, but we believe in one more than we believe in the other, right? We will look into one. You will do research on one. The 333 show up on the clock. You will do research. You will pull out the Google. You will call your spiritual friend. Hey, what does this mean? You will do all this, but the same situation pops up in your life 3 times, 4 times, 5 times. Do you dig into that? to actually see what is the problem. Why do I keep putting myself in the same situation? Why do I keep picking the same woman? Right? Or do you blame that external world? Right? Do you start saying things about this generation? Do you start putting the blame on everyone outside of you? Right? Which direction do you go? Which path do you choose? All right. So when someone abandons you, what if they are mirroring how you abandon your own needs? Right? Somebody comes into your life and quote unquote, right, love bombs you. Okay. How did you let someone do that to you? And then they just pull away. And you're broken down and you're chasing them, trying to get them back. What lesson are you being taught in this situation? How do you really feel about yourself? How do you really feel about your worthiness? Right? What is the lesson that these situations are trying to provide you? I mean, clearly your soul is not just bringing people in your life to hurt you for fun. Clearly there's a more orderly plan than that. Right? But when we step into a victim mindset, when we don't try to look deeper into these situations and figure out, okay, what is this trying to teach me? If this was God in disguise, what is it trying to teach me about my weaknesses, about the things that I need to work on? Right? If we don't step into that mindset, we are saying that shit, okay, my soul just hurt me for fun. Just hurt me for the hell of it. Right? God just brought this person in my life for the hell of it. Okay? So this is the mirror work that most people avoid. Okay, but healing cannot happen in denial. This is why when we talk about anything in life, right? Because everything really is a representation of anything. But if we do not start displaying, very high levels of self-accountability, it's going to be very difficult for us to heal, to get better, to get wiser, because the healing, right? The healing is in the accepting where I am right now, right? That's why this is the first step in everything. If you want to change your life, right? You see prosperity, but you've been struggling with money. The first thing you have to do is accept where you are right now and understand that everything around me is a reflection of my thought processes, right? If I look at my bank account right now, it's a reflection of my beliefs about money, my habits with money. That is exactly what it is. Now, to deny that is to deny a part of myself. And in denial, there is no healing. In denial, there is no growth. Right? My past relationships, who I have been entertaining, is a reflection of me, of my values, what I like, right? What I tolerate, my lack of self-worth, all of these things, right? But if I just deny my role in my own suffering, I just say, okay, it was just these people, it was this generation, it was, these men, it was these women, whatever the case may be, whatever excuse, right? Because we can sit here and we can all bounce off excuses for why we've been in a certain situation, especially when it comes to relationships and money, right? We all have excuses. Like if we could come up with some creative shit, okay? But as long as you are in denial, as long as the problem is outside of you, there's no healing. There's no growth, right? We can blame politicians. We can blame the market. We can blame, the job market, the stock, whatever the case may, whatever market came to your mind, right? You can blame whatever. But until we take ownership, it cannot be healing. It's going to be very difficult for you to get better. It's going to be very difficult for you to grow, right? So this is the power of accountability. Is that once you become accountable and once you stop suppressing what is in front of you, right? Once you stop trying to look around the mirror, look at the mirror with one eye closed, right? The moment that you begin to look in the mirror and you see the mirror every time you look around at your surroundings, your bank account is a mirror. Your relationships are mirrors. They're mirrors of so many things. Right? You start explaining all of your past relations. I can tell you straight up what you value in relationships. Now, we can fight back on that. We can fight back on it all that we want, all day till we're blue in the face. But we were the common denominator in all those things. So all of those things added up can tell us about ourselves. Your financial situation throughout your life add these situations up. This will tell you about how you feel about money, how you think about money, how you experience money, right? How you manage it, all these things. Right? Now, until you take all of this information and you put it down in front of you and you do not run from it, and you accept this is where my life is, right? I only have power right now when I accept everything. Right? There's power in acceptance. Okay. If I accept who I am right now, I can't hide from anything that made me who I am. Whether I am proud of who I am, whether I still believe I have hella work to do. Neither one of those can be true without radical self-acceptance. Anything else, suppression, just constantly reveals itself to you over and over again in different ways. It's like, okay, you want to suppress me this way? How about I show up on this side? Okay, you want to suppress me this way? I just show up over here, right? When you suppress things, they just find more creative ways to do it, right? You act like you more creative than your soul. You can't hide from yourself. The entire world, this entire structure, this entire construct is meant to reflect you. You can't hide from yourself. You can try to suppress it and avoid it, but you'll constantly meet yourself in every person you choose, in every financial situation that you encounter, right? In every goal that you try to set for yourself, right? You will constantly encounter your beliefs over and over and over and over again until you accept them. But it is an acceptance. When you shine that light of consciousness on whatever is going wrong, now you can transcend it. If you do not make yourself aware of it, you can't transcend it, right? So self-acceptance is key. Self-acceptance is key, right? Now, I don't want to confuse self-acceptance and working to understand where we need to grow. We don't want to confuse this with worthiness. Two completely different things. Two completely different things. When we talk about self-worth, right? How I feel about myself, right? How I feel about myself, right? There's two major aspects to that. Two major aspects. Number one is the kingdom of God is within you. There is no work that you truly need to do to be worthy for the things that you desire, to be worthy for love. Some people, a lot of people, most people, I would argue, walk around with this belief that when I get to healing, I will be worthy of love. Now, I want you to think about that. What does that mean? When do you get to healing? Define this tangibly. When I get to healing, what does this mean? All right. Is there some finish line that you've already mapped out in your mind? Or are you just on a constant pursuit of getting better, self-improvement, of stripping away beliefs that don't serve you through the course of your life? If you have a finish line, I guarantee by the time that you get to whatever finish line you have in your mind, that finish line will move forward. Because the more you know about yourself, you're going to start realizing shit, the more that I have to learn about myself. There's layers upon layers of programming, of limiting beliefs, of trauma that have made me who I am. Right? You are all you are, your human personality, all it is programming. All it is the social media you've been scrolling, the people you've talked to, the rooms you've been in, the schools you have went to, the classes you have took, the lessons your parents gave to you, the podcasts that you've listened to. You are a big composition of a bunch of other people, a bunch of other thoughts that came from a bunch of other thoughts. Most of our thoughts aren't even ours. Right? So we constantly are going down this path of trying to figure out who we are, trying to strip the veil of the ego, trying to come back into union, into unity with the Most High. And we're all God in disguise. So all of us are just the perspective of God. If you added up all of our experiences, our perspectives, our beliefs, our views, we still wouldn't even understand the Most High. We like to pretend it gives us this sense of ego and arrogance that we can talk about the Most High, right? As if we know it all, but nobody knows it all. Nobody does. Nobody knows, where your salvation is. Nobody can drag you to that, right? We're all just doing the best that we can. So this concept of worthiness, you are worthy because God is within you. You were born worthy. And then you were wrapped in this veil and they told you, oh, there's original sin and all these things. They told you, no, you got to come to the church and we got to dip you in the pool. And that's going to make you more worthy. And now you got to sit in church and you got to tithe and you got to do all the. It doesn't matter. If you were never baptized, if you never opened the Bible, you are worthy. Because God is within you, you are worthy. Point blank, period. Right? Now you can sit there and you can argue for your own lack. You can always argue for your lack and limitation. But whether you feel good or you don't, you are worthy. Whether you are working or you are not, you are worthy. Whether you feel divine, whether you feel good today, my brother, you look in the mirror, you feel like I'm that dude today. Or you look in that mirror and you say, man, I got work to do. You're worthy for everything that you desire. Right? My goddess is whether you are single or in a relationship, married or divorced, doesn't matter. Your circumstances, no bearing on your worthiness. Your feelings, no bearing on your worthiness. You are worthy, point blank, period. Now, when we actually transition over to our self-worth, how you feel about yourself, right? Now, me personally, I like to wrap my self-worth and my worthiness all together. Right, which took me a while to get to, but understand that, okay, I'm worthy because the Most High is within me. Right, I'm worthy because God has constantly proven to me over and over and over again. Right, as I let go of the things that I want, as soon as I get a desire, I let it go and I get right back to this present moment. Right, but what I see is that God continuously shows me that I can have whatever the fuck I want over and over and over again. Right, so I wrap my worthiness in there. However, if you are not receiving the things that you want in life, as I was at once, right? When we're losing things, when it seems like we can't keep promises to ourselves, this can tend to break down our sense of self-worth, right? Because we still have to go through this human experience. If I'm the type of person who says I'm going to wake up at a certain time, and I don't do it, right? See, if you go to church, they'll tell you, okay, a sin is these specific things. These specific things are sin. I would argue that a sin is anything that is against what you believe you actually should be doing. You have this internal guidance, right? Like, God is more wise. I feel like our common sense gets in the way of giving the universe, giving the Most High the credit that it deserves. If you were God and you descended to the earth and your soul animated this body, you would have an inner sense of morality, an inner sense of my desires. If I want my desires, I should be doing certain things. If your desire is to be a doctor, you're going to have an internal guidance system that tells you, maybe I should be studying so I can get into medical school. If you have an internal guidance or a desire to be a trader, you're going to have an internal guidance system to say, okay, well, maybe I should practice or exercise discipline in my life, discipline on the markets. If you want to have a nice physique, you're going to have an internal guidance system that tells you, maybe I shouldn't eat that cupcake, right? Maybe I should work out, right? Now, when you are aligned to this internal guidance system, you tend to have more self-respect, more self-confidence, a heightened sense of self-worth, right? And when you go against it, what happens to your self-worth? It plummets, right? If I want to be in shape and I look in the mirror and I don't see what I like, but I know what I should be doing. I know I shouldn't have ordered that food, but I did it. I know I should have worked out, but I didn't, right? Now, we are sinning. Now we're sinning against ourselves. Your desire is holy. Okay? Your desires are sacred. The things that you want in your life, these are sacred things. These are sacred covenants. This is the promised land. And in order to get in the promised land, into the promised land, You have to be going the opposite of sin. And sin is just missing the mark. We all know what we should be doing to get to the things that you desire. You all know. We act like we don't know. We act like we need somebody to lead us to salvation, but no man can lead another man to salvation. Look, let me give you the perfect example. If right now you decide you want to make money, you don't need anybody to come tell you how to do that. You know exactly what you need to do, even if what you need to do is go research how to get more money. You know exactly what to do. But if you're not doing it, now you are in sin. And when you're not doing what you know you should be doing, do you feel good about yourself? No. So this starts to erode your sense of self-worth. Right? This begins to erode your sense of self-worth. And now, all of a sudden, you're not feeling worthy. Now, all of a sudden, the things in your life aren't lining up. All of a sudden, right? You feel like, oh, I have to be worthy to get these things. I believe it's some feeling that I have to conjure up. Right? See how just sinning, right, leads you away from God, because God wants you. It leads you away from God in multiple ways. But in one aspect, if your desire is God wanting that desire through you, and you know exactly what to do, but you're not willing to do it, that is leading you away from God. That is leading you away from God. You know you want this divine relationship, but you keep picking this woman who you know ain't, you know what I'm saying, she is not in alignment with that. We'll just put it like that. Ladies, you keep picking the man and he ain't really in alignment for what you want, right? You don't even feel good about that decision. You might feel good in the moment, right? He might feel good tonight or last night, right? But when you wake up from that dopamine hit, from those chemicals in your brain, you say, damn, shouldn't have done that. That's not in alignment with what I want. You're sinning. That is the sin. That is the sin. Your desire is specific to you. If I added up all of your desires, they are specific to you. Right? Desires are not universal. I have never had a desire to be a doctor. Never. Some people do. Right? Just like there's certain desires I have that other people won't. Everybody doesn't want to be a millionaire. Everybody doesn't want to live in certain cities. Everybody doesn't want certain things in their life. Why do you have your desires if they are not holy? Your desires are holy. They're sacred. Right? And when you have those desires, you know what you should do. You know what you should be doing. Right? So this is the mirror work most people avoid, but healing cannot happen in denial. All right, so questions to ponder. Let's get back to triggers. Just went on a side quest. All right, what part of me is being reflected in this trigger? Okay, whatever you're being shown in the situation that you are in right now, what part of you is being reflected? If I'm looking at my bank account and I don't like what I see, what part of me is being reflected? My money management, my mindset of how money flows to me, what's being reflected? That is where the work is. This is where the work begins. Accepting where you are right now, this is where the work begins. Okay? Who or what do I constantly judge? And what might that say about me? Who or what do I constantly judge? What does that say about me? Do I judge a certain religious group all the time? What does that say about me? Is there something about their conviction that, I might be a little off-putting to me for whatever reason? Right? It's because I just think that they're dumb. Why do I feel that way? Right? Is there something that I cannot explain within my own beliefs that's being thrown back at me by these people? What is it? It is something. You're triggered for a certain reason, right? If you weren't and you were just so deeply rooted in your belief, right, then what could trigger you? Right? It would be like if I know that my name is Alexander Dwayne, right? And by the way, Dwayne's not even my real name, right? But if I know my name is Alexander, and somebody walks up to me and they say, "What's up, Joe?" What's up, Big Mike? Why'd I be triggered? I would just be like, okay, they can't be talking to me. It's not gonna bother me. Like, even if they are, I'd just be like, oh, no. That's cool, but that's not my name. Right? Even they say, yes, it is. No, it's not, bro. My name's Alexander. Right? You wouldn't initially be triggered because you understand the truth. You're so deeply rooted in the truth of who you are, of your name, that it wouldn't matter what anyone said. Right? You can't come up to me and tell me that my mom's name is something different, because it's not. It's not, right? So what or who do I constantly judge? Okay, is this about them, or is this about my inner child actually seeking safety? What is it about this situation that's really bothering me, right? And so the constant example that I always give, if y'all work in the corporate environment, you probably know this, but whenever I used to work in tech, we have to do a root cause analysis when shit goes wrong. You got to do something called the 5 whys. It's one of these exercises that you do where basically you say, okay, what is wrong? And then you say why 5 times, right? So if I asked you, what's going on in your relationships? Well, these men these days, they just don't want to settle down, and I just keep picking, or I keep ending up with the wrong ones. Why? Well, I don't know. Maybe it's because they all say the things that I like in the beginning. And why? Well, maybe it's because I'm looking for a certain type of validation from them, and they're giving me that, and it just feels so good. And why? Why what? Why does the validation feel good? Well, I don't know. I've never really thought about that, right? The moment that you get to a point where you can't answer the questions anymore, that's where the work starts, right? But we all always have to understand, we always have to know, right, that this person in front of me is just reflecting a belief back at me. This is why if you try to start a business, right, you try to start a business, and let's say you have certain insecurities about how the business might go, how it might play out. You're a little nervous about it, okay? You could get in a conversation with somebody and start talking to them about this business, and they might not even say anything, and you can get triggered. You're like, yeah, I've been doing this for a couple weeks, and I really think that I can leave my job at this time. They might just be like, okay. That's all they say, okay. And all of a sudden you're triggered. They didn't even say anything, right? Is that a problem with them? Because people will have these kinds of conversations. Oh, they weren't even supporting me. They didn't even respond. They must. Is that what their silence meant? So you're a mind reader now, right? No, there's something within you. There is something within you that is triggered, right? Yeah, I did that on purpose. I know the okay is triggering. Okay. Nah, bro, I'm finna do this for real. I'm finna buy this, and this is how I'm gonna change my life, right? Okay. Okay, cool. Do it. Right? And here is another interesting thing as a side note, right? When it comes to people, is most people in this world, right, don't keep a lot of promises to themselves. Most people in this world don't truly have examples of someone who said they were going to do something and then accomplished it. Most people don't have that solid example. So you going up to your friend, your family member, whoever, and telling them that you are going to do something, they're going to look at it through the lens of the way that we look at most people. We all know most people are talk. Most people don't accomplish things, right? When people start getting support? People start getting support when they actually do some shit consistently for a long time. People get support when they don't need support anymore. That's typically how the story goes, right? So we can call it whatever. We can call it monitoring spirits, right? We can call it monitoring spirits, or what else do other people say? People say, oh, they're just monitoring spirits, or oh, it's just weird that my friends don't support me. Your friends are your friends because they knew the version of you before you started this shit. They don't even know this new version of you. Y'all didn't even bond over this new version of you. You have to step in the unknown by yourself. This is the wilderness experience. Anytime that you want to change, you have to stand by yourself. Like, you don't get a personal crowd to root you on through every single decision you make. When you decide to change, you have to be by yourself. This is the dark night of the soul. This is the dark night of the soul, right? The macro is an example of everything that happens on a micro level, right? Everything is a representation of anything. When you go on the spiritual path, you have to go through this dark night of the soul, right? Even when you wanted to come down to earth, you had to sit in the womb for 9 months, floating around where your body did. Your soul wasn't there the whole time, right? But your body is floating around in this womb for 9 months in darkness. When you go through heartbreak, you have to sit by yourself. And you don't have a personal cheerleader to get you through every single situation in your life. You start a new business, you start a new career, you start applying for jobs. You have somebody sitting by you telling you to apply for that one. No, do that one. That one's perfect for you, bro. Damn, they didn't call you back. That's unfortunate. Just do another one. Come on, wake up. When you get to the gym in the morning, man, you don't have somebody cheering you on the whole time. You're the one who has to lay on that bench and punch out them bench presses by yourself. You're the one who has to get under that squat rack, go down, and push that weight up by yourself, right? So all of a sudden, it's like this one thing happens. Oh, I want to do something that's different. I want to do something that most people don't do. And now we expect all the support. No. Well, you know when you're going to get support? You're going to get support when you're going down the normal path. That's how it is, right? When I used to work in tech, I remember telling my parents I got all these promotions and shit when I was working. Oh my God, I'm so proud of you, son. My your friends, oh my God, that's great, bro. And I have a great 401k, right? The moment I told them I was going down a different path, the look in my mom's eyes, right? But my dream is not her dream. She doesn't understand. Your dream doesn't belong to anyone else, just like your desire. This goes back to what we were talking about with desire. Some people desire to be doctors, some don't. You have desires, other people don't. It is not their job to cheerlead you on your way to your desire. You have to have that desire. You have to understand that this is promised to you, and you have to go after it with so much conviction that time and space collapses for you, and now on the backside, you can get their support. All right? Now on the backside, you can get their support when you earn it. But until then, it's just going to be you clapping for yourself by yourself for a long fucking time. People have their own lives to worry about. They're not going to spend I don't have all of my free time just sitting around so I can cheer on everybody around me that's going for something. I don't know everybody's financial situation. I can't expect every single one of my friends to buy my books, to attend my courses, to purchase my products. Right? I have to step out. I have to step out in the front. And I have to do this because this is a promise between the Most High and me. That's what it is. This is a covenant between God and me. Right? Now, if you get on the train with me, early, then congrats. Right? You can ride the train with me. But if you don't, it's no problem. Right? You have no choice. Right? This goes back to your faith. The moment I have a desire, it is a promise. This is the promised land. Right? Just like the Israelites went to the promised land. Right? This is the promised land. Your desire. Right? God just didn't speak to you through a burning bush. He actually spoke to you through your desire. And now you start walking down that path. Right? You have to go through certain things by yourself, right? This is your path is your path. All right, I just end that there. Your path is your damn path. All right. So number 3, the energetic loop. All right, karmic patterns and soul scripts. Okay, so until the lesson is learned, the soul will repeat the test in different forms. Okay, ancient hermetic principle. You're not cursed. You are programmed. Why you going through the same shit over and over again is because you're programmed. There's no curse. You're an infinite being. Right? Your family is not even your family. Right? Your soul transcends even your family here. Right? So, energetic loops are unresolved trauma patterns. They are karmic echoes. Your soul is not punishing you. It's disciplining you for divine initiation. Now, hopefully what I just said about, your family's not even yours, hopefully that was triggering. Right? Because they are yours in the sense that you share DNA and you have programming within your DNA, but they're not yours in the sense that they haven't always been your family. You haven't always known them. In the eternalness of your soul, of your spirit, right? You have had many families, many experiences, many opportunities, many things that you can tap into, right? So when we understand things on a spiritual level, right, it can also help us transcend what we're going through. Because I'm not a slave to whatever I'm going through just because my mother or father went through it, just because my grandfather went through it, right? There are certain things genetically that I'll be predisposed to, but they're not that strong. Okay? Now, I ain't talking about, I'm talking about genetic things, right? I'm not talking about the situations that we're in, especially being melanated, right? Your parents, some of the trauma that they passed on to you, it wasn't even their choice. They had no choice because of the situations that they were going through. Right. So a lot of times we'll blame our parents, and a lot of the discussions that we have, right, as a generation right now, and probably that we'll have moving forward for a little bit of time until we truly get to heal. We can blame our parents, but shoot, they didn't even choose the situations that they were in. They were just trying to fucking survive. And then they had us, and they were doing the best that they could. Right? And now we have an obligation to do better. But you're not a victim to anything, right, that went on in your family, right, to any thought patterns, to any kind of health conditions, right? You're not a slave to these things. Okay? So patterns look like, what do patterns look like in our life? Number one, the same type of relationship with a new face. Same type of relationship with a new face. Right. When I was younger, I used to always deal with a certain type of woman, and it always went wrong. Right? It always went wrong. Okay. But in my mind, I'm like, oh shit, it's just this time that's happening. Right. It wasn't until I actually took accountability, like, no, brother, it is you. It is your choice. It's your taste. It's your lack of discernment. It is your inability to establish commonalities in morality. It's your inability to do any kind of self-work that is leading you to these situations over and over and over again. Right? The same financial collapse after each breakthrough. You come into a little bit of money, you finally make it through this bill cycle. I think I got a little breathing room. I'm going to get ahead this time, but you don't. You end up in the same cycle over and over and over again. What is this trying to teach you? This is a synchronicity. Okay? Same type of relationships over and over again. That's a synchronicity. Same type of financial situations over and over again. That is a synchronicity. Okay? The same spiritual emptiness behind each new success. I'm constantly chasing these worldly things, right? But I'm forgetting who I am. I'm forgetting that I just want the worldly things because it makes me feel closer to God. And so when I actually feel closer to God, because I have these things in my mind and they are promised, they're divinely promised, they'll still flow to me and I'll be fulfilled. A win-win, double whammy, right? So what do these patterns look like, and what are these patterns trying to teach me, right? Proverbs 26:11, as a dog returns to his vomit, so a fool repeats his folly. One of the things that I had to learn very quickly in the market, because I trade, right, is the strategy was not difficult. The strategy was not difficult to do, right? Knowing when to trade was not difficult, right? But sticking to that strategy, right? Sticking to the knowledge of knowing when to trade, not over leveraging, doing the boring shit, right? Managing my risk, knowing when to stay away, taking my profits, cutting my losses. This was the difficult part. This was the part that was fucking me up. I would always hear people say, one day it clicks. But it never just clicked for me. One day I just woke up and said, damn, bruh, do you really want to do this shit? Do you really want to do this? Or are you just talking, right? The bare minimum is managing your risk. You can't even do the bare minimum. How are you going to make it? How? Right? But you constantly think, all right, it's going to be different this time. It's going to be different this time. But you haven't changed. You're constantly thinking this relationship will be different time. This relationship, this one, this is the one. You haven't even changed from the last relationship. So you should already know you can only attract the same shit. If I have gotten out of a situation, if I just got out of a relationship and I haven't learned shit, I'm just blaming them, and something comes around and it looks like gold, be fucking careful. Be fucking careful. Right? Because it might just be the lesson that you need to actually get you to learn some shit. Right? But this goes back to the divine's love of you. That you said you wanted this divine relationship. You have to be pushed into the person that can actually handle it. Okay? And you get pushed into this person through your life experiences. Okay? Through your life experiences. But you are not a fool. You are waking up. Right? The loop loses power the moment you recognize it as a test and not a tragedy. Right? So this is this divine dance, this divine knowledge, this divine knowing of, okay, I can transcend my emotions now. Not saying that you won't feel anything, but your emotions won't spiral into victimhood, right? Your emotions can spiral into you just being, okay, this is a test. My emotions start to rise up and I can self-soothe myself. My emotions begin to rise up and I say, okay, this is a divine lesson. What do I need to learn so I can avoid this mistake? Because if I just spiral too much, it's not that the spiraling into your emotions or the negative thought loops is negative per se. It's just, or bad per se. It is just that when we start doing that, it's difficult for us to pull out the lesson. Your emotions don't really matter when it comes to like manifesting the things that you want. What matters is your awareness on the patterns in your life and how to transcend those patterns. Right? For instance, when I'm in the market, right, I was told by people, oh, well, you know, you're going to completely overcome your emotions. You're not going to feel ups and downs. No. I still feel when I'm in the market. I still feel. But despite those feelings, I just execute how I'm supposed to. That's it. That's the only difference. The emotions are still there. Right? If you walk outside and you apply for a job and you don't get that job, okay, and you're down to your last dollar, you are going to have some emotions. But can you soothe yourself through those emotions and say, okay, the Most High is within me. Everything works out for me. The situation doesn't look ideal, but the God within me is perfect. Right? So everything must be unfolding perfectly for your boy. Right? What is the mindset that you take beyond the emotions? So emotional control is not emotional suppression. Emotional control is how you react to your emotions. Do your emotions cause you to continue to go down these loops? And we can talk about emotions from a positive or a negative perspective, right? You can have a negative emotion that makes you do some dumb shit. You can have a positive emotion that makes you do some dumb shit as well, right? You want this, I want this good man. But the familiar man comes back, right? Your emotions can lead you astray, right? I know I need to use this money to pay this bill, but this parlay is looking good. This parlay is looking good. SGA on the over for points. Oh, right? Now your emotions can lead you astray. Do you make the righteous decision no matter what your emotions are? Or do you use your emotions as an excuse to do the wrong shit? And a lot of people use their emotions as excuses to do the wrong shit. All right. So once you recognize the loop, that is when you can actually transcend it. Right. But it takes awareness. You have to be accountable. So I have to understand, I have to be very brutally honest with myself and say, okay, right now my money does not look the way I want it to. Right now my situation does not look good. Right now my relationships are shitty. I have to be accountable enough to say that the way that I've been reacting is not appropriate. right? Man broke up with you. You got all kinds of fake accounts and shit and hitting them up. Come on now, right? The way you're acting is not appropriate. Right? Do you allow your feelings to push you towards doing inappropriate things? Things that are not in alignment with your highest truth, with your desires, getting you to where you want. Okay? So self-sabotage. When the inner child runs the kingdom. All right? Self-sabotage is often not laziness. Okay? It is loyalty to pain. Self-sabotage is loyalty to pain. And you might think, oh, well, I'm not loyal to my pain. I don't want pain. Most of us say that we don't want pain. But this is how our brain operates. Your brain likes familiarity. It likes to be predictable. It likes to be in environments that are very predictable. I can predict my suffering so it's safe. I can predict my wins, even though they might be limited. It's safe, right? When I can predict what's going on in my life, I feel safe. Whether it's good or bad, I can predict it. Your brain is comfortable because your brain is always trying to detect threats and keep you safe. All right? This is why, okay, people will hate their job and they will stay in their job for a long period of time, even though they know they should get in that job market. They know they should learn a new skill. Right? It's not necessarily comfort from the way that we think about it, but to your brain it's comfortable because I can predict that when I wake up and I go to work and I get that first Slack message, it's going to piss me off. I can predict that this person is going to piss me off. I can predict that I'm still going to get this paycheck. Everything is safe. It's predictable. My environment is the same. Okay, this is safety to your mind, right? We just, through our human perspective, we judge things as good or bad. But to your mind, right? Your mind craves familiarity. This is why anytime you make a new goal, you set a new goal. I'm going to accomplish something new. I'm going to learn a new skill, get a new job. I'm going to start that new business. And you start working towards it. And then what happens? You get into an unknown part. You get into an unknown portion. You don't really know what to do anymore. Things aren't working out as planned, right? What do most people do? There's this common story that most people talk about is most people give up right before they hit success. Right? Absolutely right. Because success always comes after the unknown. But as humans, we're not programmed to be in the unknown. You've been in the known your entire life. You've been programmed to stay in the known. You've been programmed to be in a knowing environment. I've been programmed to go to the school and I know if I do this, this is the grade I get. I know if I do this, I'll be good. I know if I do this, it'll be bad. I know if I think like this, I'll get a job. I know if I act like this, my parents will be happy. I know if I make this grade, I will pass this class. The structure around your life has been stay in the known. Stay in the known. But the moment that you say, oh, I'm going to start this business, I'm going to start this econ business, this trading, you ain't go to school for that. This is an unknown thing. You're in an unknown area of life. And so it's very difficult for us to get pulled back into our usual habits, to the way that we usually do things. Right? People stay in bad jobs. People stay in bad relationships. And you know you should leave, but you keep going back. Why? You know you should leave, but you keep going back. Why? Right? We can call it whatever we want. Okay? We can call it whatever we want. But at the end of the day, even if we call it trauma, right, the healing is stripping away the programming. It's stripping away the programming that craves certainty, that craves prediction, the predictability. Is pulling away the programming that creates predictability. Because if we don't step in the unknown in areas in our life, then we can't ever get to the blessings. Right? Everything that you want is in the unknown. Everything that you want is in the unknown. All your desires. That new relationship that you want, that beautiful, divine counterpart that you want, guess where you're going to have to go to meet them? You're going to have to step in the unknown. Even if you meet somebody, y'all meet someone, then y'all are going to have to go through the honeymoon phase. And after that, y'all are going to have to really start to align on stuff. You're going to have to start working together and going through uncomfortable situations together. This is the unknown, right? The obstacles that y'all go through together, the opportunities for intimacy, the opportunities for growth, stepping into those uncomfortable situations. Shit, this is the unknown, right? That business that you've been thinking about starting, but you don't even know where to start. Getting on YouTube, getting on Google and starting to research and doing those things, that is the unknown. Getting a new job, stepping out, seeing what the job market is like, practicing your interview skills. This is the unknown. For the last 3 years, I've just woke up and suffered at this job. Yeah, I could look for a new one, but a year passes. Yeah, this time I'm really gonna start looking. You might look for a couple of days. Another year passes. You start stacking those years. You've been in this company for 7 years, 12 years, 15 years, 20 years. Right? You've been in the same relationship, the same types of relationships over and over again. You've been dealing with the same person off and on. 4 years, 8 years, 10 years. Right? Life has looked the same. If you truly study your life, most people live the same life over and over again. You do the same shit Monday through Friday. You wake up around a certain time, around the same time, right? If you go work out in the morning, you might miss a couple of days because you're lazy. You do the same shit. You wake up at the same time. You probably eat around the same time for breakfast. Then you go do work. You do about the same shit at work, the same types of tasks. Then you get off and you do the same shit when you get off. And then you do the same shit on Friday nights. Then you do the same shit on Saturday nights. Then you do the same shit on Sundays. And then you say, damn, I hope my life changes. Boy, it's insanity. That is crazy. Right? If you want to change anything, you have to step in the unknown. You have to. Okay? You have to step in the unknown. All right. So the subconscious believes, if I grow, I'll be alone. If I succeed, I'll be punished. If I'm powerful, I'll lose love. All right. So you pull back, you ghost your own potential, not because you want to fail, but because the pain of success feels less familiar than the comfort of chaos. The pain of success could feel more. The pain of success feels less familiar. I was about to say more. The pain of success feels less familiar than the comfort of chaos. Okay? So Luke 5:37, no one puts new wine into old wineskins. The wineskins will burst. Man, you try to put some new thoughts in, you're gonna have to crack yourself open. You're gonna have to change up the routine. You're gonna have to change up the routine. Your identity must expand to match your destiny. And that means outgrowing the stories that kept you small but safe. There is safety in your present life. There's safety in ignoring the work. There's safety in saying, I have been dealing with the same type of women, but it's predictable. Even your heartbreaks are predictable. Right? We put these rose-colored glasses over what we're doing, and we name things. We say, okay, we have this attachment style, or this happens, or whatever. Sure, that may be the case, right? But these things are not prisons. This is the start of your journey. Understanding how you've been putting yourself in the same situation, this is the start of your journey, not the finish line. Okay? Understanding my attachment style. Researching my zodiac sign. Right? Understanding my beliefs about money. Writing down all the bills that I have right now. All the money that I owe right now. Right? I don't owe nothing, thank God, right? But writing down all these things. This is the starting point of your salvation. This is the starting point of the work. Okay? Because the present moment has all of the power. Once you accept where you are right now, it becomes the springboard for your life on a metaphysical level. Like on a spiritual level, you cannot change the future from the past. You can't change the future in the future. Right? You can only change it in the present moment. So the moment you begin to pull all your energy back to you, right? You pull your energy back to you. You stop being scared to look reality in its face. And you understand that if I know where I'm at, now I can choose where I'm going. But if I'm suppressing where I'm at, then everything that I'm suppressing is going to keep trying to find creative ways to flash it in my face, right? So the healing comes with awareness. How aware can you be of your patterns? You should wake up every morning and look at life like a game. Everything that shows itself to me in my life today is going to be for my improvement. There's a message behind everything, and I'm going to find it. I'm going to crack the code, right? I'm going to have the life that I want. And I'm going to do that one step at a time, one moment at a time, one opportunity at a time, one lesson, one test. I'm going to pass all of those, right? This is how you should be treating your life. This is the ultimate game. Right? You'll get on Xbox, get on the computer and play the game all day, right? Build up your character, buy ammo, buy upgrades, right? This is the ultimate game. And everything that presents itself to you is an opportunity for you to upgrade, okay? If you want more money, look at your current habits. Just look at your current habits, right? How many portals do you have open, right? How many streams of income? Whether they're generating money or not, right? How many streams of income can you open? Because they're all just divine portals for prosperity to flow through to you, right? How is your belief about money? Do you believe that money can only come in one way? It has to come through your job, through a paycheck, right? Or do you believe that one day you could open up your email and some company could owe you a check and they give it to you? Somebody could just give you some money. Somebody could just see the divinity within you and bless you. Right. How do you think money moves from the creator to you? Does it only come through that man that you call your boss? Right, or does it come in other ways? Okay. So we have to do that work, expand our mind, study money, right? Think about all of these things. Okay. Think about all of these things. Okay. So transmuting the trigger. So from reaction to revelation. The mature soul does not avoid triggers. I say the last time I said the mature soul does not fear death because you die 1,000 times, right? You die every time you experience heartbreak, betrayal, loss, whatever, right? The mature soul also does not avoid triggers because the mature soul blesses them and says, what are you here to teach me? This is where the shadow becomes alchemy, right? If I'm suppressing it, then I can't be the alchemist of my life. This is alchemy, turning base metals to gold, turning the bullshit into gold. But you know what you actually have to do to transmute, to change that base metal into gold? You have to go in and work with it. You have to know it. You have to understand it. You have to study it, right? You can't try to turn the metal into gold without looking at it, by avoiding it. Everything is a representation of everything. Right? When you talk about the spiritual path, when we talk about manifestation, right? You can't manifest out of your situation if you don't even know the situation that you're in. If you're trying to run from it, you're just creating more of it. Sit in it, accept it, feel the pain of it. The pain of it is not pushing it. The pain of it is not doing anything metaphysically to you. It's not pulling it to you, right? Now transmute that pain into hope. This is where I'm at right now. Now, this is how it could actually get better. Once you understand truly where you are, what you'll start getting is desire for better. That's all it is. When you start understanding where you are, it becomes a catalyst for you to get more desire. And desire is the promised land. It's the Most High promising something to you. And now you can actually walk in faith towards the things that you want. Okay? So the wound is the place where the light enters you. So instead of saying, why is this happening to me? Wow. All right. Instead of saying, why is this happening to me? Ask, what sacred lesson is hidden inside this storm? All right. So frequency shift, living above the loop. When your frequency changes, your timeline does too. Okay. You don't break the loop with force. You rise above it with awareness. Okay. You rise above it with awareness. So instead of saying, why is this happening to me? Ask, what sacred lesson is hidden inside this storm? The wound is the place where the light enters you. That's a Rumi quote. The wound is the place where the light enters you. Right? This is the journey of darkness. When you are in the darkness, in the unknown, in that negative situation, right? You have to become the light that allows yourself to see through the dark, right? You don't break these patterns by trying to brute force your way out of it. You just choose what you want differently. And you can only choose what you want differently by knowing where you are right now. This is alchemy, right? To know myself. I need to know myself, know my situations. And your soul is always giving you these opportunities to know yourself through situations, through people, through opportunities, through experiences, through heartbreak, betrayal, loss, misfortune, lack. It's always giving you these opportunities to say, okay, confront this belief. Confront this limiting belief. Confront this limiting ass habit that you have. And now when I understand what I'm doing, when I understand these things, now, right, I can expand. Now when I understand these things, when I see what I'm doing, when I see where I have been falling short, when I see where my patterns have been leading me, now I have desires that are opposite. And when I have these opposite desires, I can actually start to go towards what I want. Right? But I cannot transmute anything without knowing it. I can't change my situation without understanding my situation. Right? Suppression. Right? This is the real definition of this. This is just a metaphysical thing. This is a spiritual truth. Right? There's nothing that you can suppress that will go away. You accept it, that it is there. Right? However, this is just still the unfolding to get me to what I want. And this is giving me more clarity on what I want. Right? See, we perceive things as good or bad. If it's bad, we might want to suppress it or run away from it. But even the negative things give you more clarity. Some of the purposes of the negative things is just for clarity. Somebody really should just cheat on you once for you to say, okay, well, shit, I got clarity now. I don't want that anymore. I don't want that anymore. So now I'm gonna do better. I'm gonna align with better. Right? Now I won't tolerate with that anymore, or I won't tolerate that anymore. Okay? But you don't break the loop with force. You rise above it with awareness. Okay? The same temptations come, but they no longer seduce you. The same chaos arrives, but it no longer finds a match in you. Right? You can go back to the market with this, right? The same emotions arise. The same desire to, jump in, that market's running, go chase it. Chase it. The same desires come up, right? But am I still seduced by them? Right? The same type of crazy women show up, right? But am I still seduced with them? Seduced by them. Okay? The same type of people that might be fun for tonight, they show up, but I'm no longer seduced by them, right? Storms don't sink people. Inner turbulence does. Okay, John 14:27, peace I leave with you, my peace I give unto you, not as the world giveth. Right? And the world don't really give you much peace. If you're constantly in this world and you're constantly just allowing the external world to determine how you feel, your inner knowing, well, it's going to be very chaotic. When you rise above that world, the world, into your I am awareness, understanding that everything is for you. Okay. So now final questions to journal or meditate on. Right. Number one, what loops have shown up in my life again and again? You have a blessed day as well. Thank you. What loops have shown up in my life again and again? Okay. What are they trying to teach me? Okay. What emotions do I avoid? Anger, sadness, rejection? What emotions am I avoiding? Do I try to suppress? Am I scared of? It may be in confronting that fear, right? I'll find my salvation. I'll find my power to transmute. Okay, I'll find my divinity in that. Right? What triggers me the most deeply and what belief lies underneath it. Okay. What things trigger me the most? Things that people say, do, maybe certain people, right? What triggers me the most? And what belief lies underneath it? And then what new identity must I embody to rise beyond this old pattern? Right? Because that is what it is about, rising above. It's not trying to brute force my way and suppress my way out of sadness. Right? It is understanding that, okay, the sadness is just a creative part of life, creative part of existence. It's going to give me more clarity on what I want. And then when I'm in that sadness, when I'm in that pain, now, my desires change. I get new promises from the Most High, and those promises can lead me to the promised land. All right. So, got to keep this one brief, man. I've been getting a little bit more busy these days, but I'm gonna end this right here. Let's end this with a quick prayer, and then I will let y'all go. All right. All right, Heavenly Father, thank you for every single blessing, every single opportunity, every single person, every single event that you place in our life to lead us closer to you and all the desires in our mind. And I pray for anyone that's going through heartbreak, that's going through loss, that you provide them with the peace that only you can provide, but also that you remind them and show them that the peace that they are looking for is always within them and ready to be tapped into. Okay. All right, y'all. I appreciate you all. I see you all as beautiful, as divine, as worthy, as prosperous, as in alignment with everything that you want and desire, right? If you don't feel that way, it's cool, because I see you as that way anyway. So I know that it must be true. It must be true. Okay? Y'all stay worthy. Stay in the game of life, man. Use your life as the divine teacher. Study your triggers. Study the things that bother you. Study everything that shows up in your life. If this was God, what is the lesson? Your prosperity is always on the other side of a lesson. These lessons are trying to get you to your desires. That is their purpose. You have a desire. This is your promised land. The obstacle is just like the Red Sea that had to be parted, right? It is just like the Red Sea that has to be parted. You have to study the things that show up in your life, knowing that they are in divine alignment to the destination that you're trying to get to, and you become a student. God is trying to show you something. Your soul is trying to show you something through everything, every person, right? Figure it out. And the quicker that you figure it out, the quicker you learn these things, now you can get to what you desire. Your desires are not just desires. They are promises. They're covenants. They are holy desires. They are sacred desires. That is the promised land, right? And everything in your experience is trying to lead you to every single person. It might not look like it when you're sad, when you're frustrated, when you're heartbroken, and you can still go through those emotions. But while you are going through those emotions, just be mindful that everything is for you and nothing is against you. All right? Y'all stay beautiful. Y'all stay prosperous, right? And until next time, God willing, peace out.